We all know a dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. Gas is up, rent's up, and don't get me started on the cost of eggs right now. But let's be honest here, most of us aren't getting raises that can keep up with all this inflation. So today, I'm breaking down 7 simple strategies that'll help you keep more money in your pocket even when prices keep rising. And number 7 is my personal favorite right now because most frugal people forget it. Alright, so this first one is huge, and I see people mess this one up all the time. Don't bank on what you haven't banked. In other words, stop making purchases based on money you haven't actually made yet. This includes signing up for payment plans, but it also includes credit cards or buy now, pay later apps to buy things you just don't have enough money to pay cash for. It doesn't matter if you're expecting a promotion or a tax return or a bonus that's definitely coming, or you're just feeling really good about your new e-commerce business. Whatever money you're expecting still hasn't hit your checking account yet, so even if it's guaranteed, life has a funny way of throwing curveballs. I don't care if it's 0% interest for 12 months, you are still spending money that you don't have, and anytime you do that, you're adding unnecessary risk to your life. Because if you miss just one payment, you're probably going to be charged some crazy high interest, and that's a complete waste of money. So simply put, if you can't afford to pay for something with the money sitting in your checking account right now, then you can't afford it. Period. With the T, like how the kids do it. Period. The next simple way to save money, even though prices are still rising, is to define your non-negotiables. Trying to figure out what to cut from your life and your budget can be hard, and it's kind of a Debbie Downer. So here's a way more fun exercise. Decide what you absolutely refuse to compromise on. Like, what matters so much to you that you'll make room for it in your budget no matter what? It's a great question to ask yourself, and it's a whole lot more fun to answer than trying to decide on stuff you need to cut down on. For me, one non-negotiable are date nights with my wife. That is quality time that I value, so I'll make sure that's in the budget no matter what. But you know something that I don't value? It's random fast food runs when I'm by myself. That's an easy thing to cut because eating a Taco Bell 12-pack alone in my Honda Civic doesn't actually add anything meaningful to my life. If anything, it just adds more crumbs in my car. But anyway, answering this question filters out what you actually care about versus what you're just spending out of habit. And once you know what truly matters to you, it becomes way easier to cut the stuff that doesn't. So you're saving money, but you're also not depriving yourself. You're just being more intentional about where your money goes. By the way, another non-negotiable is subscribing to this channel and liking this video. It actually takes no negotiating at all because it's completely free, and hopefully the Frugal Rich can be one of your new comfort channels that you put on your TV. Okay, my next point here might sound like an interior decorating tip, but it's actually a vital part of budgeting. You can save money even if prices are rising when you cover your 4 walls wisely. When I say 4 walls, I'm talking about the 4 most basic expenses you need to cover to keep your life going smoothly. And those are food, utilities, shelter, and transportation. These are obviously necessities, and you can't just eliminate them to save money, but you can definitely avoid paying unnecessary costs on these 4 walls. For example, let's talk about shelter. If you're single and living alone, maybe it's time to consider a roommate to cut down on that housing cost. I know it's not always fun to share an apartment, especially if it's with someone that's never washed a dish in their life, but splitting rent can literally save you hundreds or even $1,000 every single month. Just be wise about who you decide to be a roomie with. Or you can just get married. And when it comes to the second wall of food, prioritize buying groceries over eating out. This can save you a ton of money, and I've already posted a video about how to save on groceries so you're not overspending on food each month. Now for that third wall of utilities, there may not be much you can do about your electric bill and your water bill besides just using less. But you can probably negotiate a lower rate for your internet, and there are plenty of low-cost phone service providers. And finally, transportation. One of the biggest ways you can save on this necessary expense is by shopping around for cheaper car insurance. Every 6 months, once our car insurance cycle is up, we'll shop around for different providers to see if we can get a better rate. 15 minutes on my laptop or a quick phone call is nothing much as compared to the savings that I'm gonna get because of that switch. Okay, the next way you can still save money even when prices are rising is by focusing on high dopamine, low-cost activities. Don't tempt me with a good time, but also don't make me pay for a good time. Seriously though, having fun doesn't have to cost you a fortune. It's like we've been brainwashed into thinking fun equals expensive, but that's just not true. Like yeah, we could hang out, do dinner, and watch a movie for $80, but we could also just find a free outdoor movie in our community since it's summer. My wife and I just did that. It was actually pretty dang fun and free. Or for some other ideas, you could do a small potluck with your friends and check out a free museum. Or if you enjoy game nights, then break out the board games, invite over friends and family, and cut up a watermelon. Who knows? There's so many ideas out there that are really fun, but also can not break the budget. The goal here is to get the same dopamine hit, that feeling of enjoyment and connection, without the massive price tag. And honestly, some of my favorite memories are from the cheapest activities. Because in the end, it's not about how much money you're spending, it's about the people you're with. So get creative with your social life, your friends will probably love it, and your wallet will too. Another way you can combat these rising costs is to cheat on your grocery store. This one sounds kind of weird, but if you think about it, some people are weirdly committed to places like Costco or Publix for their groceries, but they're missing out on better deals elsewhere. So I just want to remind you, you're not married to your grocery store. These billion-dollar corporations are not loyal to you either, so why would you be loyal to them? Lately, I've found that meats tend to be significantly cheaper at Aldi, so that's where we're now going to buy things like chicken or ground beef. And also one Saturday, my wife and I decided to visit a Trader Joe's, and that's kind of become our go-to for those cheap and delicious frozen meals. Like their dumplings are pretty good. Now, I'm not saying to take an extra 2 hours for grocery shopping and visit 7 different stores every week, but don't be afraid to make an extra trip to save some money. It's okay to shop around, the same way Christians look for a new church when they move to a new town. You'll find the pastor and the groceries that vibe with you. I'm not driving all the way across town just to get bananas from Kroger. If I figure out there's a category of food that I can find cheaper at Aldi, well, then I'm gonna go there as my new alternative. The next way you can save money even while prices are rising is by trying new cleaning supplies. I know this one sounds like boring common sense, but stick with me. The cost of cleaning supplies can add up very fast, and a lot of us just buy the same brand out of habit without ever testing if cheaper options work just as well. In just 1 week, we use a ton of different cleaning supplies, from laundry detergent to dishwasher pods to all-purpose cleaners, disinfectant wipes, erasers of the magic variety, yada yada yada, you get the idea. So don't be afraid to try the store brand or a cheaper alternative and see if you notice any difference, because most of the time you won't. Before, my wife and I used to go through sponges like there was no tomorrow, but we bought one Scrub Mommy, not Scrub Daddy, Scrub Mommy, for a little more money up front, but that thing lasted us for almost an entire year. I'll talk about how spending more money up front has saved us in the long run, but there are other ways that you can save on these different cleaning supplies. For most instances, when it comes to cleaning supplies, we've been able to get by perfectly fine using just these generic brands. Like for a general purpose cleaner, we've been able to use the generic Walmart brand compared to the fancy Lysol name. Nor do we need to get the fancy Gain or Tide laundry detergent. We've used great value and have gotten the same value because we don't stink. We still smell like lavender. The key here is to actually test out these brands, not just assuming expensive or popular means better. Your shirts don't care about what brand of detergent you use. And honestly, they don't care about anything because they're shirts. Okay, so this next one is what most frugal people forget about when it comes to saving money, but lock in high quality. Sometimes choosing the cheaper route can actually cost you more money, and that's the case with buying stuff that breaks or wears out quickly. The next time you need to replace something, focus on buying things that last, not just things that have a lower price tag. For example, if you need running shoes, invest in a good pair that won't fall apart in just 3 months. Or if you need new food storage, buy glass containers instead of plastic ones that easily get warped and stained after a few uses. Yeah, you'll be spending more money initially, but you'll save money long term because you're not constantly replacing that cheap junk. One of the best ways that you can see your savings on investing into quality is by calculating the cost per use. A $100 pair of shoes that lasts 2 years is going to be way cheaper if you calculate the cost per use versus buying a $30 pair of shoes that you need to replace every 6 months. Plus, high quality stuff usually works better, which makes your life easier. If you guys have made it this far, there is an 8th bonus way that you can save money while prices are rising, and that is by getting around people who are like-minded in these frugal rich habits like you. You can do this in person or online by joining the Frugal Rich Facebook group that I started. It's full of people like you and me just sharing our wins with money, asking questions, and sharing our best tips for saving even in this economy. You can join by using the link in the description, but remember, there are still some frugal habits out there that might be doing more harm than good, and I'll break them down for you in this next video. So just give it a click and I'll see you guys over there. Peace.